AM10 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. It is the last day of June, June the 30th, and we are getting ready for a 4th of July weekend, although 4th of July is actually on Tuesday. But I can tell by the roadways that a lot of people are already on vacation or they are on their way to get on vacation. So I just make this appeal to everybody. Be safe on the roads. Don't drink and drive. And if your area does not permit fireworks, then don't do fireworks. We have a massive fire that is occurring up in Prescott Valley, and the news on the local news stations are that they're making progress. So hopefully we're able to squash that fire and be safe this weekend. If this is your first time tuning in to Health Futures, taking stock in you, we're a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And how do I do this? I bring extraordinary guests, and today's no different. I want to jump into it because we've got a robust show. We've got the first half of the show is dedicated to talking about seniors and America's Health Rankings Senior Report, and I've got on the show Dr. Rhonda Randall. She's the Chief Medical Officer for Retiree Solutions from United Healthcare of Arizona. And then the second half of the show, I've got Optum Care Arizona, and I've got Dr. Ken Cable that will be on, and he'll be joining us in the second half of our show. So I want to jump right into it, and I've got on the phone here with me, I've got Dr. Rhonda Randall. Dr. Randall, welcome to Health Futures.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today.
Well, it's good to have you. And, you know, it was back in May. There was a 2017 America's Health Ranking Senior Report, and Arizona came out number 23 on that report. And I just, I want to throw right out to you, how are Arizona seniors doing overall in health?
Well, as you mentioned, Bob, this is the fifth year of the America's Health Ranking spotlight on seniors and doing a report dedicated to the health and well-being of the senior population in the United States. America's Health Rankings has been running for 27 years now. It's the longest longitudinal population health report of its kind. And as we saw the baby boomer population increase, we wanted to ask ourselves the question, can a community be healthy if its seniors are not? So when we did the report this year, as you mentioned, it came out in May. Arizona was ranked 23 out of the 50 states. It's important to note this is a ranking, so we look at how states do in relativity to the other states. Good news for Arizona is improved by 4 spots from the prior year.
We like seeing progress, so yes, that is good news. And what do they attribute? What are the metrics that they're measuring to give us these rankings? You said this is the 5th year they've been doing it. I'm just curious because I'm an analytical guy. How do they come up with these numbers?
So the United Health Foundation publishes this report in collaboration with a scientific advisor committee, experts in the field of geriatrics and population health. And we look at 34 different measures that are available. Each of them independently are available publicly. They come from well-recognized sources of healthcare data. And we put them in this report in a very unique way. We look at health in several different domains. The first set of measures fall under the category of behaviors. the choices that we make as individuals, things like smoking and physical activity, for example. The next domain is the community environment, where we live. Where we live matters. Is it safe? Is there good access to community support, home-delivered meals when we particularly look at seniors, for example? We look at public policy. Is there good access to the types of care that seniors need, and so forth? The next area is clinical care. So when we go to the doctor or we go to the hospital, do we get the recommended care? And then last but not least, how are we doing as far as outcomes? And that, of course, as you would expect, would include things like premature death, but also in seniors, some other outcomes that are really important are falls. Whether or not you have to have your teeth extracted. Retaining your own teeth is an important part of your health as you age, for example. We look at mental health as outcomes in seniors as well. So it's a very comprehensive look at the health of seniors in the nation and at the state level.
And, at the top of the hour or the top of the show, we talked about baby boomers. And, we all know that 10,000 a day are turning 65, 3 million a year. We've got quite a few more years to get through all the baby boomers, but the oldest are now 71 years old, and the youngest are turning 54 years old. So, obviously, the baby boomers getting into this category are influencing these numbers, these metrics that you're sharing with us. And it's interesting. You talk about falls, and we all know how deadly and devastating falls can be, and that's probably one of the most preventable incidences that we can prevent. I mean, we can get our older adults to use canes and walkers and assistive devices, and I know that many of them, and some of them may be listening into the show right now, it's a vanity thing, and they don't want to be perceived as needing a walker, but staying upright is really important, and we need to keep people vertical, not horizontal, as I like to say. One of the things that, was shared with me is, Arizona seniors are seeing improvement in clinical care. And I guess this report showed a 30% decrease in preventable hospitalization since 2013. Is there a real, effort that is being made on behalf of the United Health Foundation to get that to happen? What do you see as attributing to that?
Well, Bob, we see some really nice progress in clinical measures over the 5-year course of this report, both in Arizona and in the nation. And you mentioned one of them. We see a 25% reduction in preventable hospitalizations nationally. That means if you could have received your care from your primary care physician or your specialist or an urgent care clinic rather than going to the hospital, for example, that's down 25%, a real success. 30% decrease in hospital deaths for people over the age of 65 is another important clinical marker. We see a significant reduction in 30-day readmissions. That's going back to the hospital within a month for something that was related to the reason you were there a few weeks earlier. So nice progress as a nation and as a state for Arizona in clinical care. But what worries us at the same time with this report is that many of our behaviors have not improved, and some of them are continuing to worsen. And even if we have the best clinical care, the best doctors, the best hospitals available for keeping us healthy and when we're sick, if we are making lifestyle choices that are going to cause us to turn 65 already having chronic conditions, it's really going to put a significant strain on the quality of our life, even though we are living longer than we ever have before.
It's interesting, Dr. Randall. I see that every day. I've been at the helm of my home care agency that my family owns for 14 years, and the acuity that I'm seeing of our patients, our clients, if you would, has gone up drastically. And, when we used to see a client that had, 1 or 2 morbidities, now we're seeing complex morbidities. And it really, goes to your point about behaviors. And, I guess, we don't have a genie in a bottle that we can let out and solve this. But I'm just curious, we obviously need to do a really good job educating consumers and helping them understand that, healthy eating, exercise, and all those things, not smoking, are imperative to improving your life and the ability to live a longer life. it's hard to believe that we've got one segment down, but I do want to pick up on that. When we come back on the second half or second segment, I want to talk about the lifestyle pieces that, United Healthcare Foundation, United Healthcare might be able to help us get the message out there to improve that so we can help continue to improve the outcomes. It's nice to see the needle going the right way, and I would imagine that you're really happy to see that, right, Dr. Randall?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's encouraging.
It is encouraging. Well, you're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. My name is Bob Roth. I'm your host, and I've got Dr. Rhonda Randall. She's the Chief Medical Officer, Retiree Solutions for United Healthcare of Arizona. We're down one segment. We got another one to come. Stay around. We'll be right back.
Arizona investment property experts are now your Mexico investment property experts. Join investment property experts for an informative Investing in Mexico real estate workshop. Learn about investing in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico, and how you can earn a net 15% annual return. IPX's crown jewel in Mexico is the Esmeralda Resort, located on Sandy Beach in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico. Puerto Peñasco is the popular beach getaway known as Rocky Point. Only 3.5 hours away from Phoenix, Arizona, this is the perfect investment and vacation opportunity for you. As an investor, you will not only earn 15%, but you will have access to numerous investment projects. Currently, we are offering Esmeralda investors discounted lots, houses, and condos that can be purchased and flipped. And best of all, everything is 100% turnkey. With the home port commencing construction this year and its planned completion in 2019, this project will be a big boost to the economy and investment real estate in Rocky Point. Learn more by attending an informative workshop. Call 602-254-6244 or visit ArizonaInvestmentPropertyExperts.com.
Hi, I'm Gary Culp. I'm host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, insurance, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we will carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call, 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559.
D-backs versus the Rockies this Saturday, July 1st at Chase Field. The first 20,000 fans will get a soft-style State 48 Patriotic Tee, followed by a fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. Visit dbacks.com.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. And if you are just tuning in right now, we're on our second segment. I've got United Healthcare of Arizona on the line here. I've got Dr. Rhonda Randall. She's the Chief Medical Officer for Retiree Solutions. And we are talking about this 2017 America's Health Ranking Senior Report. And Arizona actually fared very well. We improved, which is always nice. We're up a few places than we were previously, 23rd overall out of 50. And Dr. Randall and I were talking about, in the first segment, we were talking about behaviors and how do we change those behaviors to improve these rankings. If you missed that first segment, you can catch it up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button, drop down to the radio show, and you can catch our first segment and probably about 160 others that we've been bringing to you for the last 4.5 years. So, I know you don't, Dr. Randall, I know you don't have a magic solution, but certainly education and getting the word out there about, healthier eating and exercise and certainly not smoking and those types of things will attribute to this. Is there anything in particular that United Health is doing to help that?
I think publishing this report is an important part of that because it's very informative to have the data of where you started, right, where you are now, so that you can take action and do something about it. And often when we talk about this report, we get questions around, what is that magic bullet? And the answer is there isn't one. It's multifactorial. This looks at, I said earlier, a very broad look at how we're doing as far as the health of the seniors in Arizona and the health of seniors in our nation. But back to the piece around behaviors, you're never too old for that change to make a difference in your life. Nearly 9% of seniors in Arizona still smoke. And while that is the lowest number that it has been during the course of this report, it's still too many, and it absolutely can make a difference in your quality of life and the chances of you getting a smoking-related illness, which is very high. So there's just one example. Physical inactivity is something that we really care about. And yes, it's tied to obesity, and that's important, and it's tied to certain diseases like heart disease and diabetes, and that's very important as well. But probably most importantly, it's tied to something you mentioned earlier, independence and the risk of falls. So continuing to use our bodies and move as we age is so important so that we retain that ability to have independence, which is when we survey seniors, the number one thing they tell us is important to them as they age is to not be dependent on somebody else for their care, to not need those assistive devices, for example, and staying physically active is going to help you do that.
We know so much more today than we knew yesterday and the day before. And you talked about moving. And I've had a concierge doc on my show a couple years ago that talked about sitting as the new smoking. And it's getting that kind of information out to consumers. And for you, I know United Healthcare looks at their membership base and getting good information to them. And, I guess my question to you is, why do you measure this? And I'm gonna make the assumption you're measuring this metric, if you would, because you want to measure it so we have a baseline and we want to be able to see what we can do to improve upon it. The more United Healthcare can keep their members out of acute settings or post-acute settings and keep them home, keep them vertical, keep them healthy, saves not only the health plan money, saves the state money, saves the federal government money. It's a rhetorical question, but I would imagine that is really the premise behind this.
Well, absolutely. The goal is certainly to help people live healthier lives, and the foundation investing in providing that data. We want it to be actionable, not just to say, oh, Arizona's 23, that's nice, who's number 1 and who's number 50. To really say, terrific improvement, moving up 4 spots in the last year. So what else can we do if we want to improve even greater next year? And I would, in that regard, take a look at some of the areas where you're most challenged. Flu shots is a great opportunity for the state of Arizona. Number 49 for the country in getting flu shots. And we know that over 5 million people get a diagnosis of the flu every year, and 3/4 of the people who die from the flu are seniors. So it's important for seniors to get their flu shot every year and to remember, if you have forgotten, that you cannot get the flu from the flu shot. It's an inactivated vaccine, at least the shot is, and making sure that you're seeing your primary care physician, and there's so many places that you can get a free flu shot nowadays. No reason not to get a flu shot. So there's an area, if Arizona focused on that and a campaign to get more seniors to get their flu shot next year, that could certainly improve your ranking even further. The
75% number is huge. I mean, just think about it. If we can prevent people from dying from flus by getting that flu shot, and of course, if you get the flu, typically you'll find yourself in an acute setting in the hospital, and obviously the costs are enormous to our economy and our state and our federal government and your insurance company as a whole. One of the things that I did receive as it relates to this report is there are some growing rates that we should be concerned about, and you talked about behaviors, and that's obesity. There's a 10% increase in adults age 65 plus since 2013, and that's part of the message that we want to get out to seniors is eat healthier, move, stay upright, and live a healthier, happier life. And that's the premise of our show.
Yeah, nearly 1/4 of Arizona seniors self-report. This comes from a survey that the CDC does every year and asks seniors if they are obese. And 1/4 of seniors in Arizona are telling us that they fall into that category, so the number could potentially be higher than that. And if you compare to where the best state in the nation is doing, that number one state is just under 18% of its seniors self-reporting as obese. So Arizona being a good 6.5%, 7% higher than the best state in the nation. So there's a goal there, right? So if we could just get as good as the number one state, which still is not wonderful, right? Still having 19% of seniors self-report as obese is concerning. But moving that much could make a very significant difference, primarily in how those individuals are going to feel, right? They're going to feel more comfortable doing physical activity. They're going to have less risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancers, and other obesity-related illnesses.
Well, you know what, I couldn't agree with you more, and I know we're getting ready to wind down this second segment and your time here with me today, and I want to conclude with one of the facts that was shared with me relative to the report is that 75% of Americans age 60 or 50 plus could be, and we don't know for a fact, but could be unprepared and unaware of the looming costs in retirement. And, you know, one of the things that we talk about here on our show, and this is on Money Radio. It's a financial news network, and that is really talk about being prepared for retirement, having advanced directives, having savings in place, having resources so that when you voluntarily retire or involuntarily retire, you are able to do it successfully. I want to get your comments on that. Feel free to expand on that if you'd like.
Sure. Well, Bob, this is the first year we prepared a supplemental brief to the America's Health Rankings report, and we looked at the preparedness for healthcare costs in retirement in this issue brief that we partnered with the Alliance for Aging Research on. And we asked a few questions. We asked seniors and soon-to-be retirees how prepared they are for healthcare costs in retirement. We found an alarming number of people who are retired and are soon to retire have no idea how much it's going to cost just for your health care. And then when we asked seniors and soon-to-be retirees how much they had in savings for the health care costs in their retirement, there was a significant difference in the dollars that are currently saved versus what the experts tell us. So just as an example, the financial experts recommend that a recently retired couple, so this is for a couple, they need about $265,000 in savings for the health care costs alone. That doesn't include any other retirement costs but health care. And we found that 2/3 of seniors have less than that, and 1/3 of seniors have saved less than $20,000 in total for their retirement, knowing that the experts are saying you need $265,000 just for the cost of health care. And those numbers get staggeringly higher as you go down to the next generation of retirees, for example, and those are calculated in today's dollars.
Well, it's interesting, and you're talking about healthcare dollars, and, my family's business is a home care company, and it's private duty, private pay primarily, and I'm sure it's not covering those costs, which are exorbitant. Dr. Randall, we got to say so long. It's halftime here at Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for sharing the facts and figures behind this report. We're out.
You're welcome.
We pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Police are responding to reports of shots fired inside a New York City hospital. The incident occurred at the Bronx Lebanon Hospital Center. The Senate has begun its holiday break with no forward movement on health care reform. Correspondent MJ Lee.
It is stalled in the Senate, and tomorrow is July. We have spent the first half of this year covering this bill, moving through the House very slowly, or at least slower than the president would have liked. And a vote that was supposed to happen this week, Mitch McConnell had to make the decision to postpone it. And right now, now it is not clear when this vote will happen, if at all.
A small plane has crashed onto the 405 freeway in Orange County, California today. Correspondent Sarah Seidner.
It is usually packed with cars, and incredibly, according to the fire department, only one vehicle had minor injuries. That person was also suffering from minor injuries, but the two people in the plane did survive this.
On Wall Street, the Dow up 111 points. I'm Ann Cates.
You can't enjoy your outdoor living spaces when your home has unsightly green and black stains in need of cleaning. Why scrub when you can spray and forget? Spray and Forget. The revolutionary no-rinse exterior cleaner eliminates stains from mold, mildew, algae, moss, and lichen. Spray and Forget brilliantly cleans roofs, decks, siding, fencing, walkways, driveways, outdoor furniture, and more without pressure washing, brushing, or rinsing. Make your home and your outdoor living spaces brilliant again with Spray and Forget. Look for the yellow label.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
It's the 4th of July sale at Ace, and it's the perfect time to buy a grill from our exclusive lineup of premium brands, including Weber, Traeger, and more. Plus, Ace has grill experts to make sure you get the right grill, whether you're looking for gas, charcoal, wood pellet, or ceramic. And right now, get the right grill delivered right to your house. Now through the 4th, hurry in and buy any grill $3.99 and up, and we'll assemble and deliver it free. Only at Ace. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only. See participating store for scheduling and details.
When you were at work yesterday, was your money also working hard for you? If not, let's change things today. Keep listening to Money Radio.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick, the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today.
And the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
Attention users of the blood-thinning drug Xarelto. If you took the drug Xarelto and experienced complications such as cerebral hemorrhage, gastrointestinal bleeding or other internal bleeding, or if a loved one has died after taking Xarelto, you may be eligible to get a cash award for your suffering. Call the Xarelto Help Hotline now at 1-800-264-3150. That's 800-264-3150. To qualify for a cash settlement, you must file a claim before the deadline, so don't miss your opportunity for a cash settlement. Call 800-264-3150 now for a free, no-obligation consultation. Our call center is open 24/7. So if you took the drug Xarelto and experienced cerebral hemorrhage, gastrointestinal bleeding, or other internal bleeding, or if a loved one has died after taking Xarelto, call the Xarelto Help Hotline now at 800-264-3150. 800-264-3150. That's 800-264-3150.
Are your parents reaching an age where you need to start thinking about nursing homes and long-term care? Is this something you want to plan for yourself so your children and loved ones have a plan? Don't miss My Smart Retirement with certified financial planner Nancy Fleming and Money Radio Sinclair No on Saturday morning from 10 to 11 when they discuss nursing homes and long-term care. How to plan for it, how to pay for it. Life isn't always straightforward, so try your best to be prepared. My Smart Retirement, this and every Saturday from 10 to 11 right here on Money Radio. Sleep better for less during the Beauty Rest 4th of July savings event. Find a retailer at beautyrestretailers.com. Get your Beauty Rest at Spencer's TV and Appliance.
Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. Facebook is punishing users who share a lot of fake news. The social network said its research revealed a tiny group of people who regularly share a lot of posts containing clickbait, sensationalism, and misinformation. Facebook has identified those spammers and will demote some of their posts in the newsfeed. The Federal Trade Commission is mailing out nearly 4,400 checks totaling more than $500,000 to people harmed by Houston-based Goldman Schwartz, a debt collection company that also used other names including Cole, Tanner and Wright, and Harris County Check Recovery. The FTC sued Goldman Schwartz for multiple violations, including making false threats and collecting bonus attorney's fees. On Wall Street, stocks remain higher in the final hour of trading, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 96 points. The Nasdaq Composite is up 14, and the S&P 500 is ahead 9 points. That's Your Money Now.
Hi, this is John Taffer from Bar Rescue. I've worked with over 1,000 restaurants, so I know firsthand what it's like to need extra funding to buy equipment or to manage cash flow gaps. I even had to sell ownership in a restaurant because I didn't have the capital I needed at the time. With Cabbage, you don't have to be in that position. Cabbage offers lines of credit of up to $150,000. Apply online and you'll get a decision right away. I signed up in a few simple steps and had funding in minutes. Since Cabbage is a line of credit, you can take the exact amount you need when you need it. You never have to reapply to take additional loans, and you'll only pay for the funds you use. Cabbage has helped more than 100,000 businesses from every industry with over $3 billion in funding. Cabbage is A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and was named the Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. Whether you own a restaurant or any type of small business, get started at CabbageWithAK.com/owner or call 855-CABBAGE, KABBAGE.
Line of credit is subject to credit approval. See terms and conditions.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we are on segment number 3, and we're coming at you live on the last day of June. It is June 30th, and we're right here in the Scottsdale Air Park. If you missed the first 2 segments, I had Dr. Rhonda Randall. She's the Chief Medical Officer for the Retiree Solutions for United Healthcare of Arizona, and I would ask you to go out to our website at cypresshomecare.com, click on the media button, and drop down to the radio show, and you'll catch that first half of our show. You catch about 160 others we've been bringing to you for the last 4.5 years. So this segment, I've got HomeCare Arizona, and I've got a repeat guest, somebody that I have connected with very well, and we're talking about a very, very important subject here today. So first, let me welcome Dr. Ken Cable. He's the Medical Director for HomeCare Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Bob. It's good to be back.
It's good.
I enjoyed it so much last time, I had to come back for more.
You had to come back for more, but we're talking about something very important on the last day of June. Many people may not know this, but the month of June is Men's Health Month.
That's correct.
And it's also, just so our listening audience knows, it is a month that we I draw attention to World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and month. So, it's a fun, packed-filled month. Elder abuse is something that is not something that is promoted and really discussed. But we really need to be mindful of our elder adults, and if you see signs of that, we've got Adult Protective Services, we've got the Arizona Attorney General's office, and you can call your local authorities if you suspect that there's abuse. But on the men's health side, men are horrible about taking care of their health. They are the worst patients there are, and I want you to talk a little bit about this month and why we want to celebrate it, if you would, or at least talk about it.
Well, you're exactly right. Men tend to ignore their health problems and not go to the doctor. And we want to remind men to take this month to really assess how they're doing health-wise and go to the doctor. Discuss it with them.
Especially if they're starting to have some issues. I mean, the thing I notice, Ken, is that, the body's a wonderful machine. But it does talk to us when it's not working right. Your shoulder might hurt, your knee might hurt, your gut might hurt. There are symptoms that we all have. I think what you would say as a physician, don't ignore the symptoms.
That's exactly right.
You start having symptoms, you need to go get help.
Go check it out. Even a minor thing can turn out to be something major, or something that if you catch it early can be treated and cared for and won't progress.
Right. So what are some of the common health issues that, men are experiencing? And certainly, our show is Health Future. It's about an older adult population, how we can live a healthier, happier life. So as we get older, what are some of the things that are happening to men?
Well, I think if you're going to talk about men's health, you have to start with the prostate. So much of what happens to us as we age revolves around that little gland that lives just down below our bladder.
It's about the size of a cashew, right?
Yeah, more like a walnut.
A walnut.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. And as we age, it grows, and it sits at a spot where the tube that runs from the bladder to the outside traverses right through. and it can block the urine. And there's a problem called benign prostatic hypertrophy, which is a swelling of that gland, which can lead to all sorts of problems for men. And it's incredibly common. And symptoms can include a blockage of flow. Men can notice that their stream is not as strong as it used to be. They don't empty their bladder fully when they attempt to urinate. And they can leak urine into their underwear, which can really be debilitating for many men.
Well, it's interesting. I talk a lot about my own health and my family's health, and my dad might be listening today, but I remember him once telling me, talking about urinating. He said when he was younger, he could put out a campfire when he went to urinate. He said, as he's gotten older, he'd have a hard time putting out a match. And those are signs to be looking for, right?
It's
the stream, common. The flow, and how you're passing your urine or voiding, as they say medically.
And they're not symptoms to avoid. You should go to your physician to discuss it because there are things that can be done. There are conservative treatments, there are medications, there are relatively easy procedures that can be done to really give you relief.
Well, that's good to know, and I happen to know somebody in my office, not working in my office, but my complex, that had the surgery and had a good outcome. They used the Da Vinci robot. He said it looked like a transformer with a lot of different arms, but the surgery, while it was complex, it was about 3 hours. Here it is, 3 weeks later, and he's in the office and he's working.
Good for him. Now, that's a surgery that's usually reserved for cancer, which is a different subject.
Right. And I went from prostate to prostate cancer, obviously. But, getting your prostate checked and, getting your PSA checked is really important.
Yeah, PSA testing is a controversial subject. I think it's worth addressing. So the United States Preventative Task Force recommends that men between the ages of 55 and 69 speak to their physician about PSA testing. And if you have high risk factors, such as being African American, having a family history of prostate cancer, you might want to have that test done, as long as you understand the limitations. All screening tests have pros and cons to them. PSA in particular has a very high rate of finding people who don't have prostate cancer, but they have a positive PSA test. And that's where the problems come in. In fact, about 2/3 of people with an elevated PSA do not have prostate cancer.
2/3?
2/3.
Wow.
So they end up going through the workup, which potentially could include even a biopsy procedure, when in fact they never had cancer to begin with.
And then the stress. The
Very
emotional
stressful.
stress. Well, absolutely. And, I pivoted over to cancer because, here we are talking about prostate and talking about urination and stream and everything, and it doesn't mean you have cancer.
Absolutely.
There are other treatment protocols that physicians recommend.
Most of the time you will not have cancer. And most of the time it can be treated much more simply than if you did have cancer.
And treating by taking oral medications?
As a general rule, a urologist will start with conservative measures first, just about timing when you drink, looking at your medications, see if there's anything that can be adjusted there. And if that doesn't work, then you can progress on to medications which are generally very well tolerated. One of them relaxes the muscle that's around the prostate to allow the urine to go through. Another actually shrinks the gland and can really help the flow.
Wow. And you know what? Now that you say it, I know a lot of pharmaceutical companies are advertising, and there are some that are. You probably know the brands. I can't remember them. That they advertise talking about stream and helping men with urination.
That's correct. I've seen those advertisements as well.
We see a lot of
they're
those.
out there.
We really do.
And then there are some newer procedures that urologists have where they can go in through the penis and actually manipulate the prostate gland just with a simple office procedure.
Well, it's nice to know that it's not cancer, and I think I gravitated thinking, okay, it's PSA, you got to get your prostate removed, and I was talking about the gentleman that worked in my office, so nice. And it goes back to the point that men they're not good patients, but if you're starting to see these challenges, and I'm making this appeal to our listening audience, if you're having frequent urination, you're having urine show up in your underwear, problems with your stream, you should go see a doctor.
No question about it. It can be fixed.
Nice to know. It's hard to believe we're almost down our segment here. I want to talk about a number of different things. I want to talk about skin cancer coming up in the second segment. We live in Arizona. It's been bloody hot here, and I always talk about wearing sunscreen and wearing a hat and wearing protective clothing, and certainly we talked about at the break, hydrating. And I would imagine hydration is a direct correlation to what we're talking about. We're talking about prostate, we're talking urination, and stuff like that.
Keeping yourself physically fit, keeping hydrated is so important to your overall health.
And we were talking about that with Dr. Randall. We're talking about physically fit, but we're also talking about eating and those types of things that can help give you longevity and living a longer, happier, healthier life.
That's exactly right, Bob.
Well, we're down our third segment. We've got one more to go with Dr. Ken Cable. He is the medical director of HomeCare Arizona. And we've got James, who's taking us out with a little bit of Coldplay. So thank you, James. Coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. It is Friday, June the 30th. It is Men's Health Month. We're coming back in one more segment. We're going to talk a little bit more about men's health. We'll be right back.
Every morning at 8 a.m., get timely market updates, breaking news on market movers, and strong analysis on financial topics to help you plan, invest, insure, retire, and stay retired. Don't miss Mastering Money every morning at 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. Hear best-selling author and wealth manager Steve Jurich, along with his great lineup of financial experts, CPAs, and attorneys. Mastering Money now at 8 and 6 right here on Money Radio AM 1510 and 105.3 FM. See you there.
Wow. Arizona loves Even Stevens sandwiches. This is Steve Down, founder of Even Stevens. At Even Stevens, for every delicious sandwich we serve, we give a sandwich to a local nonprofit partner. Sandwich for sandwich. My vision is to serve and give 1 million sandwiches every day. But you may be surprised to hear that I'm most passionate about my company, Financially Fit. I want you to wake up to the fact that you can be out of debt in 5 years or less, including paying off your home, and create wealth sooner than you ever thought possible. Imagine becoming financially fit in record time. Call for your free audio to learn how thousands are becoming financially fit at 888-7-WAKE-UP. 888-7-WAKE-UP. That's 888-792-5387. 888-792-5387. Thanks for loving Even Stevens, and I know you'll love Financially Fit.
It's an extremely valuable resource. It's found in offices, buildings, and schools. It's a resource that speaks volume, yet it never makes a sound. Everyone recognizes it. Everyone uses it. Interestingly enough, it's rarely discussed. Croy Sign Systems, designers and manufacturers of architectural and ADA signs since 1981. Let Croy be your resource for identification, direction, and information. Give Croy Signs a call at 480-619-6070 or online at kroysigns.com.
Never enter or swim in the canal. SRP reminds you to be safe around water. For more tips, visit srpnet.com/safety, srpnet.com/safety.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our fourth segment. If you're just tuning in, I've got Dr. Ken Cable. He's the medical director for HomeCare here in the studio. And we're talking about men's health. And June 30th is the last day to talk about it because it is Men's Health Month, and we were talking about prostates, and we were talking about prostate cancer, and we were talking about the enlargement of prostate and urination. Talked a lot about that part of the body. I want to talk about sarcopenia.
Okay.
And what is that? Because I know that you and I talked a little bit about it at the break, and it's something that men need to be really cognizant of.
We all lose muscle mass as we age, but sarcopenia is a particularly bad loss of muscle mass. It's because of multiple factors, including hormones, decrease in physical activity. There's even an insulin resistance that can build up in our body as we age and can affect the muscles. And many adults don't eat enough protein in their diet. And there's actually a study in women that showed that after about 12 weeks of not eating enough protein, they had a significant loss of muscle mass.
Wow.
And this muscle mass loss is debilitating. It decreases your ability to get up. You can fall. You can get into all kinds of problems. And, of course, it affects your cardiovascular health. You're not able to exercise.
So there's a rage going on right now. Obviously, diets are big. You know, protein diets, carb diets, non-carb diets, plant-based diets that, you know, really say don't eat protein or eat limited amounts of protein. Will that affect somebody, a man with sarcopenia?
Bob, I am a vegetarian.
Okay.
I believe in eating a plant-based diet, but
Good.
I also look for ways to get protein. And my family will tell you that I've told them that when I turn 60, I'm going to start eating meat again, just for this very fact. You have to get enough protein in your diet when you get older.
And it's to keep your muscle mass.
Exactly.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I want to talk about something that I see on television. And I talked about it here on the show with Dr. Bartels from Scottsdale Women's Health. You know, many, many years ago, and I'm talking about 20 years ago, because my daughter was flooded with emails about ED. And I never knew erectile dysfunction was such a big thing. And now I'll watch the Diamondback game, and I'll see 2 Cialis commercials, 3 Viagra commercials. And, you know, I didn't know it was an epidemic. It must be pandemic. But, you know, I know that there's men that have issues with erectile dysfunction. But I want to talk about low T, because low T is something that is now being talked about. And my perception is testosterone is directly related to muscle mass and sarcopenia.
It's not, though. In fact, testosterone is a very controversial subject. There were 5 studies introduced in the Journal of the American Medical Association just this year in February, and those studies really had mixed results. On the positive side for testosterone supplementation was the fact that it did increase the bone strength of the people who took it. However, on the negative side, it also increased the plaques in the arteries, which was very concerning. And in the middle, in other words, no effect, were things like stamina, physical endurance, physical strength, no effect, when it was studied against placebo. Interesting.
Very, very interesting. I mean, you know, for me, you know, you hear all these things about it. And, you know, I got tested. When I went in for my physical, I said to my doctor, I said, hey, you know, when you run my blood test, can you check my testosterone? And I scored in the low to mid 300s. And he said, you're in the range. And I said, what do you mean I'm in the range? He said, well, it's a rather large range. It's between 250 and 1100. You're good. And I said, couldn't I use more? He goes, no, we're not messing with it. You got enough testosterone. You're good.
The fact is that as we age, our testosterone level goes down, but we are unable to find any consequences from that. It is physiologic, not pathologic. It's not a disease.
No,
it is a natural effect of aging.
Nice to know. No, when we broke our third segment, you know, I had said in the break, I was talked about skin cancer, I talked about hydration, and one of the facts that was shared with me is men are twice as likely to get skin cancer than women. And I don't know if you have any factual data behind that. It probably is because we ignore our health.
And we don't wear sunscreen. I think women are more likely to wear sunscreen.
Well, I think because women's makeup has sunscreen in it. So, I mean,
that's true.
I know my wife, she'll say, I got sunscreen. I said, what do you mean? I didn't see you put it on. She goes, well, I put my makeup on, and it's got SPF 30 or SPF 15. And I think there's a misnomer, and every year around the summer they talk about it. SPF 50, SPF 90, SPF 100 is kind of way too much. I mean, once you get to 30, you got enough.
I think you're good with 30.
Yeah. You got to be definitely
But you have to remember to put it on, and more importantly, you have to be aware of your skin. You have to be looking at yourself, looking for any change in a mole, any new lesions that come up. And if you see anything, go to your doctor and get it looked after.
I go to a dermatologist once a year, and they check everything. I mean, I get buck naked and, you know, look and inspect my entire body looking for those, you know, early signs of cancer.
If you catch
especially when you live in a climate like this.
That's right. And if you catch it early, you can avoid a major surgery, particularly something on your face. You'd hate to have a large resection where they have to do some kind of a skin grafting procedure. If they catch it early, they can take it right off.
Absolutely. As we wind down our show, I want you to share with our listening audience a little bit about HomeCare and what it is.
HomeCare Arizona is a network of hospitals, physicians, including primary care doctors and specialists, nurses, social workers, pharmacists, rehab centers, all collaborating to keep our members healthy. We have community centers here in the Valley, 3 of them, where we encourage people to come in, and we have exercise classes, brain saver classes. We want everybody to stay as healthy as possible.
And if you want to learn more, you want to go to www.optumcare.com, or you call 866-339-3755. And the one thing you told me before when you were here on the show, these 3 centers that you're talking about, these are 3 community centers. And while they would like you to be a member of HomeCare, they're open to the community.
They are
exactly
indeed.
that.
That's right. We want everybody to come in and stay as healthy as possible.
And you talk about brain savers, and I know Dr. Paul Bendelin, and he's got a great program. But you also have exercise classes. I think you do Tai Chi. You do a lot of different things for the community.
We do, and we have experts there who can answer your questions about healthcare, who will go over a person's explanation of benefits to help steer them through their bills and things. It's a very helpful place.
Locations of those centers?
There is one in Chandler, one in Goodyear, and one in Deer Valley, right off of I-17.
I've been to the Deer Valley one. It's impressive. So if someone wants to sign up, they go to the website? Is that what you recommend?
You should be able to find it on the website.
OptumCare.com. Well, as we wrap things up, men's health, we're talking about you guys that are listening in right now. You represent the highest demographic of our listening audience. You suspect anything that might be different in your health, go get it checked out. We're got about 30, 45 seconds. Ken, I want to give you the opportunity to say something final to our listening audience about men's health. Give you the mic. What would your parting message be to our listening audience?
It would be just don't ignore your symptoms. There are screening tests out there. You can catch things early, get it fixed, and be healthy and age healthily.
And that be healthy means eating a healthy diet, as Dr. Randall said in the first segment, moving, and not smoking, not excessive drinking or anything like that, but excessively drink water, especially this time of year, because you can get dehydrated very easily. It's hard to believe 4th of July weekend is upon us. You and I are on the same page. We're staying indoors. We're not going to be out there in the elements. Make it a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a safe and happy 4th of July. And Dr. Ken Cable, thank you for being on the show once again.
Thanks, Bob.
We definitely have to have you back. And you men out there, mind your health. Make it a great day and have a great weekend.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Bill Gunderson's Nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
Money Radio 1510, taking a look at the market. And the Dow's up 80 points at 21,367.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news.